Hello and welcome to Beauty and the Biz, where we talk about the business and marketing side of plastic surgery. I'm your host, Catherine Maley, author of Your Aesthetic Practice, What Your Patients Are Saying, as well as consultant to plastic surgeons to get them more patients and profits. So today's guest is Dr. Diana Ponsky, and she's a board-certified facial and reconstructive surgeon with a private practice in Beachwood, Ohio, for the past 6 years. So Dr. Ponsky is also an assistant professor for the Department of Otolaryngology at University Hospitals, and she's performed more than 1,500 rhinoplasties. And if that weren't enough, she managed to find time to get married to a very funny surgeon, and they're raising 3 daughters. Oh my gosh. And by the way, your family is doing such a good job on your Instagram account. I hope your husband is as hilarious as he looks. He looks like the nicest dad, like the dad I always wanted that I didn't have. Is he like that?
Oh, he's super funny. I tell him I don't have a funny bone in my body, and he more than makes up for it. So
yeah, I don't know if you need 2 funny people in your family. But, yeah. So Dr. Ponsky, welcome to Beauty and the Biz podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you, Catherine. I've admired your lectures from afar, so I'm excited to be here with you today.
Terrific. Well, let's learn what's going on in your world. The first thing I do like to ask is, especially for women, how do you grow up to be a facial plastic surgeon? Like, I never even heard of that. Did it come in your family? How did that happen?
Right. So I grew up in a very, simple family. I say I have a mom and a dad who are both blue collar workers. And I kind of happened upon the medical field by accident. And each path along the way has been purely I credit to the mentors I was lucky to meet during that course. And so when I was in college, I worked with a chemist, and he inspired me to go into the sciences. So I went to the sciences, but then I needed to work. And so I worked for a dermatologist as her front office, receptionist. And I just loved the medical field through her, but also because she was sick. She had a heart condition, and I would often help her with certain things where she didn't have anybody. And so I knew her for over 8 years. And so that kind of, put me on that trajectory. And when I got into medical school, I was super excited, went through the rotations, found ENT, fell in love with it for the intricacies of a head and neck cancer surgery. But then worked for the VA for 2 years while my husband was doing his fellowship, and then fell in love even more with the rhinoplasty. So that's how it came about. So I think my field's amazing, and I love mentoring young women to kind of check it out and look into it. So
where did you? And you ended up in private practice almost 6 years ago. So are you still in the university setting, or how is that working out?
No. So I was very lucky to have a hybrid practice for many years. Because of the support of my chairman and then chairwoman. And then in August of 2020, I left completely and just focused on private practice. So it was a gradual transition, mainly because I think I was kind of nervous about taking that big, bold step out from academia. So
why did you? What were the pros and cons of being in academia and then going into private practice? What was that decision making? Because I know a lot of surgeons are just on the fence, they're just not sure what to do.
Yes. So for me, I loved working within a team. I loved that I had colleagues that I could ask questions of, that we could all get together and do cases together. I love being able to teach residents and having an input in that. It was difficult from a family standpoint because my husband's also a surgeon and he travels a lot, lectures a lot. And as the university became tougher in terms of having one person work with you, they would have a lot of people who would do different things so that they can delegate and work with 10 different surgeons. There's scheduling conflicts and issues with that. A lot of my colleagues ended up leaving, and so I was probably the last one standing. So that was the tough part. It was mainly bureaucracy because the camaraderie of working in academia is one thing. The other frustration came out when the billing practices were an issue. And so my patients would get mad at me because the hospital couldn't figure out a good system for functional nasal surgery with cosmetic nasal surgery. And I always felt like I was put in the middle and I couldn't explain it any better, nor could I have any influence over the numbers or the people who sent them bills. And so all those frustrations kind of came together. And, 6 months after COVID, I was just kind of ready. So
good for you. And
yeah.
you did it in the middle of COVID?
Yes.
Well, what were you thinking?
So, yeah, I was just, we worked all throughout COVID, at least to cover call and help the pulmonary system, people out. We try to protect our faculty by taking like shifts for a whole week. And then when things came back, it wasn't fully back. There were still issues with seeing patients and telemedicine and all that. And I thought it was just a good point. I promised my chairwoman I'd find my replacement for me at the university, and it was a good time to make an exit. So, so I did.
Well, kudos to you. Regarding functional versus cosmetic rhinoplasty, I know I had one years ago, and everybody I know says the same thing. While you're at it, could you also take care of this bump on my nose? Like, everybody wants to start out with insurance and just throw the cosmetic in, and you've got to have a script and a structure response to that, because doesn't that come up like 9 out of 10 times?
Definitely, yes. In my practice, there are certain numbers of there are about 3 insurances that I work with, and the rest are all cosmetic. So I feel like we do our best to guide patients through it, but there is, and most of our patients are reasonable. So the difficulty comes in when I'm trying to explain that if you're having trouble with breathing and you have a passageway that's, so big and you're trying to make it even smaller, then the fact that it's partly functional comes into play. So I explain it in terms of that. And a lot of people understand it. When I participate with their insurance, we definitely try to get that part of it covered by their insurance to help them out. And if it doesn't work out, we still give them credit for it, because in the end, I don't want that to be the single factor that turns a patient away, because I'm more into building rapport, like building a good relationship with patients. And honestly, I think that if you're going to take someone for a surgery, I'd rather they not do something because of a few dollars, right? So you want to give them the best of both worlds, the cosmetic and the functional aspect. And that's usually my goal. So it's one of those things that one of those surgeries that I absolutely love, because it's such a marriage of the two things. So I don't know if I've answered your question, but it is very tough to explain. Yes.
When the patients know that you accept insurance, that's all they hear. Oh, she takes insurance. That's fantastic. I'll get this taken care of. The minute that conversation changes to, well, not so fast, some of this is insurance and some is out of pocket. And the minute that credit card gets involved, all bets are off, and it changes the relationship often. If you can straddle that, good for you. Eventually down the road, you might say cash only, and just leave that word insurance out completely. Although I think you really enjoy doing the insurance side. So what percentage is insurance versus cosmetic in your practice?
So right now, I would say 80% are cosmetics and 20% has a functional insurance issue. So
good for you.
Yeah, very little.
Oh, good for you. You did that early on, because you've only been at this for 6 years, right?
Yes, but I know it well from the university, right? And then for the numbers, so even though it's been 6 years for the hybrid model, there's been a lot of learning along the way with managing both sides of it.
So where is a lot of your time spent? Are you kind of like the rhino surgeon, or are there a lot of facelifts, blasts? I looked on your website, and it definitely looks more rhino centric,
Yes.
But where are you going with that? Do you want to be known as that, or do you want to spread out, or what's your plan?
Sure. So that's a very good question, Catherine, because I spent most of my early years at the university doing mainly that brings on another answer to one of the questions you asked earlier. Part of how the Department of Otolaryngology/facial plastics advertised me was purely in the nasal arena, right? Because plastic surgery took over everything else, and their marketing wasn't in that. And so I saw mainly noses at the university, a lot of reconstructive faces for facial palsy issues, and some eyes for functional reasons. But I was trained in all of that. I did my fellowship with Baum and Guyron, and I'm trained in all of it. I love all of it. And so part of my reason for exiting also is that I get to do all those things. So, outside without, with control over my advertising and my marketing. And so I do love all of those surgeries for sure. I would say about 75% of my surgeries are rhinoplasties now, with about 15 to 20% facelifts, and the rest in blephs and brow lifts. And so that's of the surgical numbers. I spend my time between non-surgical and surgical days. And so it's pretty evenly split. So
isn't it amazing how you almost have to have non-surgical parallel to your surgical, because you're going to catch those who are never going to do surgery. You've got an option for them now. We never had that before. This technology has changed everything. So you can do an awful lot nowadays without it. So is one of your philosophies to offer non-surgical and surgical to keep that patient with you?
Yes. So I feel that the younger generation are more likely to try things that are non-surgical early on, right? And it's a educational process too. You take care of your skin now. You take care of preventing or prejuvenation. Take care of preventing the wrinkles now. You'll have less that we have to fix in the future, or a longer process until we have to do something more invasive with it. So I know a lot of my more established plastic surgeons in the community will not do Botox or fillers. They'll send to derm, and they'll just do the surgical cases. And I guess at this point, I could probably make the transition, but I actually like the relationship building up to the point where they may need you for surgery, or the relationship building of after surgery, maintaining things. So it's one of the more gratifying portions of what I do.
Here's what I've noticed with other practices who only focus on surgical. That is a very old school kind of way of thinking. You're so darn sure that you're going to have surgery forever and ever that you hang your hat on it. In today's world, I'm not sure most surgeons can plan on that. I think you've got to have that non-surgical aspect to your practice. You may not be the one doing the non-surgical treatments, but keeping that patient in your practice versus wandering around and hoping they end up with you again the next time they need surgery. I think that's dreaming. I'm just my opinion on that. So when you were going to go out on your own, how did you know what to do? Did you decide, okay, I'm just going to rent some space, or I'm going to go rent some space from somebody else, or I'm going to go in a big building, or I'm going to buy my own building? Like what did you end up doing to get you from the hospital to private practice?
Yes. So probably by now you've learned that I'm very cautious and I take little steps instead of big ones. I was very lucky that my chairman really supported me, and I had shared with him some of my frustrations with the university system and how it was tough to get cases that I wanted in blephs and facelifts because of plastic surgery, how it was difficult to get the business office to kind of talk to patients and explain the process of billing a little bit better. So to keep me there, he allowed me to rent space from them in the plastic surgery building. So for 2 days a week, I had a timeshare there. And so little steps, they rented it to me for 2 years, and then they switched plastic surgery with urology. So that was a good time for me to exit and find my own space to lease. But I stayed with them in that hybrid model for a few more years before completely going private. So.
And then where did you end up? So now you're leasing space. Is it in a big medical building or a consumer place? Yes. Or a mall? Or
So it's in a big business building that has both offices as well as medical offices. So I'm on the same floor as the gastroenterologists who have a surgical suite, and I am on the same floor as the dental and oral surgery offices. And then above us, there's, equity firms, office leasing firms. So it's a mixture, a digital internet company. Different offices. And I was there I had a 5-year lease. I just renewed on it. It's a small boutique office, and I kind of just figured it out by, going through notes that the Academy furnished us, probably from your lectures in the past, and picking up books and podcasts and, things along the way, and checking with friends who had done it in other cities and states. And
I think that's your best bet. See what everyone else is doing outside of your area, like just so nobody's all competitive. There's no need for you to go through half the mistakes that others made,
Right.
Is there a saying about that? The smart people learn from other people's mistakes and don't make them themselves. And so true. So when you went out on your own, now you don't have the university behind you. Now it's you. So how did you go about presenting yourself to the marketplace? And how are you going to position yourself? So what did you do to get your name out there?
Right. Gosh, I learned a lot about marketing, Instagram, the Google ads, and how to build your website twice. And there was a steep learning curve for sure in that regard. I luckily stayed in the same area where, I worked previously. And so I had a lot of referrals already from the internists, the pizza offices for broken noses of kids, the dermatology practice in town who worked with me with, cancer or Mohs patients before. So I was lucky that I had a chance to kind of build my name in the community first. And then it was a little bit of an easier transition coming out there. But gosh, Catherine, I couldn't tell you, like the first time I heard about oh, you got to do this on Instagram or put this out on Facebook, or it's like, really? And this, you just, it's a whole new world in advertising.
Yeah. Is there any other marketing channel you're using other than social media? Have you tried anything else?
So I have a girl who runs her own social media company, and she manages all of that for me. We would meet once a week so that we can go over ideas, how to, be different, but also deliver the right message all the time in a consistent way every week. I have a guy who does my website, and I actually use BSMs, the Allergan brands people, and they connected me with a guy who is a digital marketing expert. And so he comes into our social media meetings every week also. And and I think my best thing, so my husband's very funny, and he does a lot of these internet educational, webinars. And so he's on every single platform educating the world. And so he has helped me with little tips along the way in this regard. But along with him, my most valuable resource is who's my employee now. I call him my marketing strategist. He has no formal education in it, but because he worked for a number of years in the Museum of Art, and he's very creative, we come up with funny ideas. And so they're kind of like slightly off, and different. But it really helps. So he brings the creativity into it. So BSM, my creative director, my social media person. Sometimes I use my kids for TikTok because they can do it better than I can, and faster. So.
Well, especially now, all of a sudden, everything has to be a video. And, I was just getting used to just doing my picture, my photo.
Right.
And it's like, really? Yeah. Now everything's got to be a video? Like, I'm not that creative. But as long as your family's backing you up, they're doing a great job with the reels, So,
thank you. Yeah.
And my husband has a great Instagram account. Like he's a pediatric surgeon. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Maybe
So,
that's why, because he's pediatric, that he's kept his youthfulness about him, you know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
But it
think he's
really,
funny.
well, no, that's
He's-
funny. When you were critiquing his looks, like now that he's turning 50, and I thought, oh, this is not going to go well. Is he open for cosmetic rejuvenation tips from you?
He's much better now that I've pointed it out. But yeah, before he wasn't. He would let me like make fun of him every now and then. I had to bribe him to even treat him to Botox his 11s there. But yeah, he's coming around. He's coming around.
All right. So let's talk about staff for a minute, because if you haven't been used to running a practice, and at the hospital, that's the wild, wild west, is you've got a lot of managers there, a lot of people telling you what to do. But in your own private practice, it's your show, and all arrows point to you. If things are going well, it's you. If things are not going well, it's you. How were you with this? Like managing people, leading them? Did that come naturally for you, or what kind of challenges have you had with that?
No, I find that to be the most challenging portion of going out on your own. I love the part where you get to determine what you do. You get to decide who you hire. And early on, it was all about experiences, because I really didn't know how to navigate that ship at all. So I would pick people with experience, but as they came on board, it turned out that not every personality would mesh well together. And so HR is definitely the toughest part of what I do. Now I pick for personality. And right now I'm actually without an office manager, which will soon change. I have someone that's been with me for 5 years. She's great. I have an RN who is soon to be an NP that I've trained for over a year, and she's terrific. I have Michael, my creative director, who's also terrific, and my front desk gal is also great. So I'm learning along the way, but definitely it's been the biggest challenge, because I actually found out that I don't know how to manage people. I didn't go to, I'm not good at that. And it's tough when they're working together and you have to have the personalities be, symbiotic with each other too. So try on error. That's what I say of navigating.
Just so you know, nobody is a born manager, just like nobody was a born good surgeon or anything else. It really is some people, a little minority, 2%, were like just really brilliant at it. Like they just innately are really good with people and have great people skills. Surgeons are not notoriously known for people skills. You were very busy doing something else. You were not socializing, you were studying. So you're already up against the odds there of being a good manager. It's a taught skill though, like anything else. And you have to get out of your own head and talk to other people and be patient with them and listen to them. And there's nothing easy about it,
Right.
Especially when you have your own vision of how you want things. And typically surgeons are pretty perfectionistic, which we want. As a surgeon, we want that. As a manager, we don't. Or as a wife or something, or a spouse, we don't either. Or as a parent. So it's just, that'll always be just a learning curve, like forever, probably.
Yeah. It's luckily I have friends who've helped with the process. So when I started, they're like, okay, well, here's the handbook. Here are some things you have to define up front. Here are the things like to just make sure that you always have meetings, with your staff. So you're all on the same page. Always let them know how grateful you are and how great that the team is. And so I've been lucky, to have friends that have helped, guide me through the process.
Very good advice. Meet with the team regularly. Tell them your vision. Let them know what your standards are, what you expect, what your values are. Hold them accountable. And that's what the meetings are about. And then, appreciate them and acknowledge them, especially in today's world. They need a lot of, head patting. And and I know I did not come from that world. It does not come naturally for me to constantly, but I've noticed like when I'm talking to my staff on every email, I always say thanks. And it's like, this is exhausting, but I know it's important, so it's just a learned skill. So just give me one, so far, you haven't been at this for 20 years, you've been at it a lot less, but give me one big mistake you made that you wish you had avoided, or at least that you learned something from.
Sure. So I went into business with a family member in the beginning. We were at different levels, and it was, I was an attending when he was a resident there, and it didn't work out. I feel like, that's one thing that I wish I could kind of not, repeat or have people go into it. Like, you think you hear it all the time. Don't do business with family, leave, like, as much as you love your family, leave them in that position. It's hard to mesh the two because things, personalities come out and decision-making things become a little bit, tougher. So, somehow I thought I could be like Lieberman and Fry or my friends in North Carolina, but it didn't work out. We are both better off for it. I think each of us felt like now we have the latitude to do what we want to do. And so I would say that's probably one of the, biggest business mistakes I made. I don't think many people are tempted to go into business with their family members. So I don't think others are going to, have that same issue. But
How
I
close
would
was
say
the family member?
a cousin. So it's my husband's family. So yeah.
It was your husband's family. Oh, that's even more complicated. Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe it was your brother, because at least you two can like fight
Right.
and then break up, but then be okay. Oh, that
Right.
was a tricky one. Yeah, I would have probably consulted you on that one.
You would have been, yeah. I was badly in need of your
Well, you know what?
advice then.
I mean, what
But
are the chances? Seriously, what are the chances when you're in private practice and all the risk is on you, and you have a vision for what you want and what you stand for and your brand? And what are the chances somebody else has that same darn vision, and you both, and one of you wants to do the marketing and one of you wants to do the HR, so your boundaries are perfect, and like it's
right.
really slim to none.
Yeah.
For those, and the egos get involved. Like, there is nothing easy about two strong-headed surgeons getting together and trying to build one vision. There, nothing easy about that. Yeah. So, is there, like, do you have high hopes for down the road to add partners or associates, or are you pretty happy being a boutique practice?
Right. So that's the question right now. I have a nurse practitioner, soon to be nurse practitioner, who will, contribute to the practice, and she'll start building her own practice. And my plan is to maybe hire one or two more. But still, right now, I'm trying to keep it more of a boutique practice. And the question is, I went into this because I love being able to help people. I love to operate, and I do feel like I have a knack for recognizing what is natural and how to deliver it in a really quality way with integrity. And so I kind of want to keep to that vision, which is why I'm not sure that I want to grow it. The other part of why I went into private practice is I want it to be around for my kids until they don't want me anymore and they're off to college, type of thing. So I am at a crossroads a little bit, because I do need more staff. I need to grow this space. But once you do that, then you're going to have to add more, nurse practitioners or an associate or so. So I'm at the point where I can't tell you definitively. I'd like to probably add another nurse practitioner. And figure it out from there, I guess.
Is there some reason you're adding nurse practitioners versus an RN?
Right. So I can also add an RN. I just feel that I would like someone who can run solo. So in Ohio, my nurse injector can inject with me in the proximity, but it's sort of like still grayish, right? But if I ever leave town, it's a little bit harder to regulate. Whereas an NP has more latitude to do things on their own. And, I just have to be a collaborating or overseeing physician. So I don't know how, are you in California or okay. Yeah. So that's my thinking, is that I'd like someone who has a little bit more independence too.
Gotcha. It's just they can be more expensive. They're not as easy to find. And especially in today's climate, I would think it's like a needle in the haystack trying to find a cosmetic NP who wants to work on somebody,
Right. Right. And I don't mind training them. This young girl that I have, she's terrific. And I've trained her for over a year. That's part of what I did at the university was teach. And so I don't mind that part. I think it's great. I'd rather they learn from me and know the anatomy because I took her into the OR, showed her things, and I'd like that rather than send her to a course to learn from, whoever may be teaching who's never seen the deeper portions of where they inject. So
another thing that happens is they start gaining confidence and they're experienced and now they think they have a following and they don't see you make it look easy,
Right.
And they don't see what it's like to run a practice and pay the bills and have all that risk on your shoulders and always worrying about the overhead and all of that. My advice would be just make sure all of their work is watermarked with your logo, like their name and your name always stay together,
Okay. That's a very good piece of advice.
Yeah. You don't want them to get too, big for their britches, and
Right.
They're not running the show by themselves. They're under your name. And so anyway, that would be my 2 cents on that. I've been to your area. I have this funny story. I was in Cleveland for a conference and I'm from California. So Uber is a big deal out here. It never dawned on me that there wasn't Uber in that neighborhood. So I have to leave the conference at night and go meet one of my plastic surgeons in your neighborhood, whom I know you know. So the front desk says, "Oh, we don't have Uber, but here's a card." And they literally hand me this card that says a taxi, a van, and a husband. And so I said, "What?" And so literally the taxi driver is the wife, and they're probably in their 50s or 60s. He's sitting shotgun. And I'm in this big van. They bring me to the restaurant. They wait for me. And then they bring me back to the hotel because I was going to be screwed. If I got out to that restaurant, how was I going to get home? I mean, I paid dearly for it, but it was the funniest thing. It literally, she's advertising and my husband's going to be here too. And I thought, and what are you, the entertainment committee?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. I bet you. So in Ohio, it's probably the Be My Designated Driver, like Be My DD. They travel in groups. They go, one takes your car, the other drives.
So has Uber arrived yet in your area?
Yes, it has, but it's still limited. So you could be waiting like 20 minutes for an Uber, whereas like in California, I'm sure like every few minutes there's another one.
Well, you don't realize, not everybody is the same. Like I've now been to airports and I'm leaving the airport saying, "What do you mean they don't have Uber?" Like I forgot. They still have cabs. It's just like, I stopped myself going, how am I going to get anywhere? And at that, they still have the yellow cabs. Go to the line. And, so things have just changed so much. So tell me, how are you going to differentiate? Because let me ask about rhinoplasty, because you have picked the toughest procedure on the planet. You've got the younger child, the younger kid that you have to somehow relate to, or you have to relate to their mother, or you have the older, more maturing patient whose nose, like it's all falling down. So now you have the more mature patient who wants to get their nose back where it was. How's that going? And how's your unhappy patient factor? Any tips? Because actually I had a podcast interview with, I can't remember his name. He's in New Hampshire. He's like, big guy. He wrote the book on the unhappy patient.
Yes. Constantine. Yes. And
his whole philosophy was, oh my God, I fixed their nose and they still weren't happy. Like, what do you mean? I did like a perfect job and you're still unhappy? So I was wondering, do you have any tips and tricks on how to make that unhappy rhino patient happy?
Right. Unfortunately, I wish I did. I think, Mark's closest to the guru of that arena, because I couldn't possibly write a book about that subject, because I'm still learning about that. We all have unhappy patients. For me, it's, I rely on multiple discussions with them. Then you get a sense of their motivation, their personality. And I can tell you, that part I'm pretty good about picking out, but it usually takes me 2 or 3 meetings, and so I structure it as a consultation, a morph discussion, and then a pre-op discussion too with my nurse. Starting the conversation, I'll come in, any last minute questions, that type of thing. And so I've had to turn away 2 patients because they showed up with things that are suspect between the second and the third, visit, where you get the feeling that you can't possibly achieve all their goals. And no matter how many times you tell them that the human nose is not an animate subject, it's not like a car door that you can pound out and just make, perfect, or get the right color. And so now I'm much better about picking out those patients. I feel like the morph is the biggest leveling field. It's so helpful. It's a tool that not a lot of my mentors had. They would just draw it out or draw an overlay over it. And now I have the power of Adobe and the power of all these like morphing programs. And so that's very helpful. And then just showing patients examples of other patients where, I've had to take someone back because I didn't reduce their nose enough to their liking, or they had a soft tissue, polybeak that we had to inject and follow over time. So I always start my conversations with that I like to follow my noses for my rhinoplasty patients for up to about a year. We're building a long-lasting relationship, and you're going to be in my office at least 5 times during that journey. And if you feel like you need to come in more often to ask questions, I can definitely do that. So one of my patients didn't tell me that she had a chin implant in and wanted a rhinoplasty. And we talked about that a little bit. And then it came out in her second discussion when, we were talking about morphs and things like that. So she was, she's like, well, I'm going to enlarge the size of this eventually. I'm like, oh, well, that would have factored into the whole morph discussion too beforehand. And then she was, so things come out the more you meet with people. But I wish I had a magic potion. It's just sort of getting to know their personalities through, just talking a little bit more with them. So.
Well, what happens when they bring the celebrity photos with them? Or they're going to tell you exactly how this is going to go? I think some of those, like, they're giving you yellow flags often. And
Yes.
Some of the surgeons ignore that, saying, oh, please, I've been through this a million times. I can handle this. And then it fires on them. But are there any big yellow flags like that? Or does your staff ever jump in and say, something doesn't feel right here?
Right. So I always get the input of my staff because everybody has different interactions, and that's very helpful. The one red flag, one patient, she made 8 morphs for me of what her nose would look like. And she's like, okay, can you look at it with this? I like this, but I don't like this. I want a little bit more of a slope and not as much of this slope. It was one such patient. Another one, they're little things, and sometimes it's just anxiety, right? But I would say nowadays, interestingly, I don't get the celebrity photos as much anymore. And I think it's because we tell the patient that we'll create a morph of you based on your features, your likeness, and not, someone else's. Like, Kim Kardashian's nose is not going to look good on someone with a round face, and we talk about how this is important because you don't want to be like Michael Jackson, someone who pursues surgery or after surgery after surgery, because we didn't narrow down the essence of what you're looking for. So I think that's helped a lot, the giving patients a morph rendition of what their nose could look like, and then using patient examples of other patients who've been through the journey where sometimes it's just perfect and sometimes it's not. Sometimes you need a, chin implant, and sometimes you're on the cusp and you can use fillers for a minute until you decide. So yeah, no magic solution. When you find it, you let me know, because I'll come to that course and take that.
All right, I'll keep watching and listening. But I have noticed, though, the rhino patients are the happiest, most emotional patients.
Yeah,
they're the ones that they're always crying on Instagram because it's such a transformation for them. I'm thinking that's half of why you like it so much. It's so transformational. Have you noticed that? Aren't they the most satisfied when they're satisfied?
Yes, definitely. And my favorite thing to tell a patient is you're so focused on your nose. It has to be so perfect, but when it's balanced in your face, you don't notice it and no one else notices it after a while because it's no longer your leading feature for whatever reason. It's too big, it's too narrow, it's too pinched, it's a little off. It's like once it's balanced, no one notices it anymore. And they always come back and say, you're absolutely right. I spent so much time fixated on it. And now no one says a single thing about it. They say my eyes look better or something else, but yeah.
I think that's the biggest issue. All of us are standing in the mirror, staring at the things we don't like about ourselves. Man, it just compounds it every morning.
Right.
It's just staring at you. So anyway, so now that you've been in practice, what words of wisdom would you give to somebody else that's a little behind you to jump into the private arena?
Mm-hmm. I, found that I liked managing that part of my world a little bit more than I expected. When I went in, I didn't think, I don't know anything about business. I don't have any formal training in it. I don't know the single first thing about marketing. And I enjoyed learning about it. I enjoyed, going to lectures and hearing about how the things we should do and the things we should look out for. So to a younger colleague, I would say, if you love the surgery and it is hard for you to do in the university, or if you want to make it your own and be your own boss, control your schedule better, then it's a good time to go out and start your own practice. I do feel on another level that private practice is going to swing the other way. So with all the restrictions that we're seeing and all the hospitals showing more acute care patients, that more physicians are going to go out on their own. And in fact, the AMA is starting a subsector of education on returning to private practice, what's going to work, what's not. The group specialty groups are also not so popular now just because they are almost an institution, right? And so I think that more and more people to have control over their lives are going to think about it a little bit more. So I would just say, if you think this is what you want to do and the university or the academic arena is a little more challenging, look into it. I think people will end up liking it more. So.
Well, I know when I started this 22 years ago, I do have an MBA. So when I was consulting, I would give you like an MBA education within a month. I have a 60-day program. So, I mean, I would fast track you and tell you what you need just specifically for this, private practice as a plastic surgeon. And now everybody's doing that. And even the doctors want to do what I do. Like everyone has jumped into, let me teach you the business side and the marketing side of plastic surgery. Because, well, frankly, you have to know it in today's world.
Yeah.
You do need all of that. The best surgeon on the planet will get trumped by the best marketer on the planet, at least in the short run. And if you're with one of those, if you have one of those in your area, they can wreak havoc on you. And you're like, how dare they? They're not anything like me. I'm way better surgeon than them, but they're way better at branding and marketing. So, oh boy, it's so interesting watching, huh?
It definitely is. I mean, you were the one that started out on this track before anybody else. And now there's Yellow Telescope and companies like that kind of are in that arena. Yeah.
Oh, and quite a few of the doctors now are very entrepreneurial, and they're getting into, let's say, their own skincare lines or their own
I've seen that too.
Yeah, signature procedure. And then some of them are, doing like a franchise where they have built their prototype practice and now they're going to franchise it out. It's just been so interesting watching how everyone's finding their spots, and there's no one answer. Yeah. Right. So, all right. So, that's all the questions I have for you. I'm dying to talk about your family because when you said you had kids, I'm thinking, well, she looks so young. She must have really little kids. And I thought, how is she doing all of this? And then one of them looks like she's even taller than you. So how old are
she? Is.
Yeah.
She is. She's 16. She is an inch taller than me. She likes to remind me every day. And then I have a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old too. So all three girls. And yeah.
Is anyone showing any promise of following in your footsteps?
I don't think so. They all claim they don't. So they're interested in the sciences, but they want to be vets rather than doctors right now.
And me too.
Or artists. Yeah. Or my oldest is very artistic, but I think she's not, interested in this field. We'll see where it develops later, but she's saying she just wants to, draw and travel the world and design things and paint on them. My middle child may end up here. She's like, she loves learning. She's super, she picks up things real fast. So we'll see. We'll let them decide, as long as they're happy, that's all we want. And as long as they work hard at what they want to do, that's all I'm asking of them. So.
Well, I mean, of course, we all want to do what the first one's doing. She wants to do her art and travel the world. I mean, that sounds good to me too, but you have to have a plan to do that.
Right. So I read about you. You're one of 7. You've made your own path though. You didn't follow the,
Yeah, I know. I'm still traumatized by my childhood. I'm still getting over it. I was not meant to be in, the cliche Irish family, 7 kids. Father drank too much, the whole thing. And I couldn't get out fast enough. I thought, this is way too noisy for me. It's way too chaotic. I am not meant to be here. So I will see you all later. And I came out to California. I'm from Chicago. I'm sure you've heard a lot about Chicago lately. I was destined to be married with 7 kids and a husband who watches 10 hours of football every Sunday. And I thought, shoot me, it's just not
right.
I think that's what you just have to know thyself. If that's not what you want, and so many people
right.
caught up in that, like they were told to be a doctor, or they were told to be a housewife, like me. And you can say, okay, I'll do your program, and then that's why you have a midlife crisis probably, or you realize, wait a second, that's not where I'm heading. So. And then you follow your own heart, but you have to work for it. There's challenges to both roads, but anyway.
Right. So you weren't kidding. You really were traumatized in your childhood.
Oh, I wanted to be the only child. I wanted to be a princess. I wanted all focus on me.
Right.
And nobody, I don't even think anyone learned my name. Like there were so many people there. It's like, it just wasn't my style. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm one of 5 girls.
Okay.
So
all girls?
Yeah, all girls. And I was like you. I want to leave. Yeah, I'm surrounded by girls. I can't escape it. But
do you all get along?
We do, actually, interestingly enough. I'm sure we had our share of fights when we were younger. As the oldest, I don't remember all the fights because I probably, yeah. So, but now we're all super close. So
that's the best part. Like my sister, my one sister that I just love, she's my best friend. I just love her. I see her every week, and that's all I needed. I just needed one sister. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, you know what? I wanted to give out your website in case anybody wanted to get a hold of you. It's DrDianaPonsky.com. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then you're also on Instagram. And is that, what is your handle on Instagram?
It's Dr. Diana Ponsky.
Oh,
so same thing with Twitter, and also Facebook's a little bit different. Facebook's Diana Ponsky Facial Plastic Surgery.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure talking to you. I'll see you again at another meeting eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I would love to talk to you again.
And everybody, that's going to wrap it up for us today at Beauty in the Biz. So if you would subscribe to Beauty in the Biz, then you won't miss any episodes. And if you've got any feedback for me or questions, please leave them at my website, CatherineMaley.com, or you can certainly DM me on Instagram at Catherine Maley MBA. Thanks so much, and we'll talk again soon.